The one thing that too many salespeople do is they rely upon their experience. They don't do the work before the work, and they don't take the time to understand they're in the people business and get to know those individuals. See, often the reason that people don't ask people for the things they want in life is they're fearful of rejection. So if what I can do is provide people a rejection-free formula to be able to ask for the things that they want in life, they might be more likely to ask.
What up, Masters? Welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And here's an episode I am super excited about. Phil Jones is an author, a best-selling author, and he wrote multiple books. So cool. Exactly How to Sell is one of his books. And the first book that I actually picked up was I was looking online and I was looking for some really great books on getting back in, fundamental sales skills. And I came across his book, Exactly What to Say. I got it and it was amazing. I mean, it's exactly what to say, the magic words for influence and impact. It's so simple. It's a small little book. I'm looking at it. I mean, what did it have? 125 pages, small, big font. Oh my God. It's amazing. I mean, I'm telling you, go get yourself a copy of this book. And I listened to it on Audible, which I bought the book too, because that's how I roll. If I hear something on Audible that's phenomenal, then I'm going to get the book. And it just helps me internalize it more. Like I'll go through the book and do all my highlights. But anyway, go to Audible. And if you want a free copy, go to davidsfreebook.com and get yourself a copy of Exactly What to Say by Phil Jones. I can't say enough. Awesome to have him on the show. Was not an easy guy to get on the show either. So I really appreciate him spending the time with us. You're going to love this. All right. That said, listen, check out our sponsors. Vulcan 7, as usual, they've got a great opportunity right now for you if you're looking for, prospecting for leads, for expireds, for sale by owners, circle prospecting, whatever you need for real estate leads. Check them out. They have a special right now for my listeners for 2 weeks of their lead service, everything, the whole platform for only $49. So you really got to check that out. Take advantage of it. I mean, even if you don't continue with the service, you still get to keep the leads, right? I mean, they can't take them back off of your computer, right? It's the same thing with the book. If you go and get your free copy of Exactly What to Say, you'll sign up for Audible. But as long as you cancel before they bill your card, then you never pay and you got the book for free. So anyway, this is all good stuff. I want to get you to the show. Here's Phil Jones. Listen, take notes. This stuff works. Exactly What to Say with Phil Jones. Enjoy. Hey Masters, welcome to another episode of Path to Mastery. And today we have a special treat. We are with Phil Jones. And Phil wrote a few books. The one I originally picked up was called Exactly What to Say. So hey Phil, how's it going, man?
It's going good. It's going good. Thanks for inviting me on the show.
Absolutely, man. It's an honor. And it's funny, I came across your book, as I think we talked for a few minutes. I've been in prospecting, phone sales world, real estate for years, over 30 years now. And I was kind of scrolling through the internet just to pick up some more books on sales and cold calling and strategy. And I came across your book, Exactly What to Say. And I bought it from Amazon and it's phenomenal, man. I absolutely loved it. So I said, I got to get this guy on my show.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Your publicist, who was nice enough to actually send me a couple more of your books. There's another one called Exactly How to Sell, which is also phenomenal. And then Exactly Where to Start, which is all about the big why. So I got the bonus plan here.
There we go. Well, we like to be able to over-deliver in this world, right? I'm sure you teach that to everybody that listens to your work. So we try to do the same when we send books out to people. You asked me to fill in the gaps a little. So, yes, I've written those 3 books, but prior to writing those books, I did some work that taught me what I then documented in those books. So I've been in the arena of selling and influencing people since a very early age. Started with my first business at 14 years of age, was making more money than most of my school teachers by the age of 15, just from knocking on the doors of my neighbors and asking them whether they would like to have their cars washed. Built a pretty reasonable set of small businesses through my teens, then found myself with a dilemma on my hands that I had the offer of going to a fairly prestigious university back in the UK. Didn't fancy that very much, wanted to get my education in the workplace, so became the youngest sales manager for a big department store group in the UK, Worked with those guys, turned around some broken stores over a period, then became a sales training and senior store manager for a big furniture group. Then headed up the commercial side of a couple of Premier League soccer clubs, then went from there to build an overseas investment freehold property business that turned over £240 million at its peak. That took us to 2008. And many people listening in will have experienced the change in the world of global economies in 2008, when our business was dependent upon people having high levels of disposable wealth, and the currency markets playing nice, and the banks wanting to be able to lend money to people for second homes. Our business was good on a Monday, and by a Friday we had a product that wasn't so easy to be able to move. So I bought that business down. And I started to be invited by chambers of commerce and B&I networking groups, etc., to help entrepreneurs trade themselves out of recessionary times, learning how to be able to pick themselves back up again when they took a bump, and largely teaching essential sales skills to non-salespeople, people who hadn't traditionally needed to be able to go out and win their lunch before they could eat their lunch. And I was doing it for fun to start with, and now 11 years on, I haven't stopped doing it, written 6 best-selling books, travel the globe speaking to audiences, and still have a passion for real estate, but most importantly, a passion for people, and helping people navigate that decision-making process and helping empower people with some skills to have more influence and make more of their conversations count.
You know, it's funny, when listening to you, one thing you said reminded me of why I actually picked up your book, because it was teaching sales to non-salespeople. And the interesting thing is, like I said, I've been in sales. I was at 17, selling Kirby vacuum cleaners, right? So I've been around this business for a lot of years. I'm good at sales, but coming into the role I've been in the last year and a half, now I'm more of a, for lack of better words, recruiter, right? So it's a different strategy than the hard close, right? Not that I've always been a hard closer, but I think that was really what caught my attention was I want to sell, but from a perspective of being a non-salesperson. Does that make sense?
It makes huge sense. And I think we live in a world where we live in fear of things like hard closing and things that feel manipulative or influential to a point where there's a winner and a loser. In today's day and age, where there is so much more transparency, we rely on reputation, we rely on brand building, that the consumer has far more power and far more knowledge than they've ever had. Selling in a fashion that has integrity running all the way through it is more imperative than ever. Now, I followed some of your story in terms of what's been involved in your successes today prior to coming onto the show. And I think one of the things that often gets missed by success stories like yours, success stories like mine, is there's just this hidden requirement that integrity and caring about the other person getting what you say you're going to get is almost an unspoken truth than anybody I've known that has a long-term success and proven track record in the world of selling anything, but so infrequently gets talked about, because I think those people that have made it have just forgot that that's an unspoken truth that perhaps sometimes isn't talked about enough when it comes to influencing other people, that we need to be doing it from a position where there's winners always around.
Yeah, that's a great point. When I think about the book, you have 3 books that I have. There's exactly what to say, and then the exactly how to sell. I thought they were both phenomenal. I see a lot of the same strategies or techniques in both books. But what would you say are the difference between those 2 books?
Exactly what to say is a playbook that empowers you with word choices to have more influence in your conversations. It's very simple to read. It's 75 minutes cover to cover, and it gives you instantly applicable sequences of words that will have you make more of your conversations count, I guess is probably the way to look at that. So it plays towards sales scenarios, but it plays towards life scenarios as a whole. Exactly How to Sell is more of a strategic playbook. So it's full of simple, practical, applicable processes that can allow you to master the art of salesmanship. But it isn't necessarily something that you can be like, hey, I read that, I can try it tomorrow and I can get results straight away. Exactly How to Sell is a bigger picture piece. And I think where Exactly How to Sell plays into this world is for everybody who's selling anything, be it a product, a service, an idea, or an outcome, and they're looking to either remaster the skills they once knew but now have forgotten, or to give them a very human approach to what is involved in winning business in a modern world, and give them a step-by-step approach to, what do I do before I do the work? How do I become properly prepared for meetings? What are the things that I should have in my toolkit ahead of time? How do I open a conversation with more people? How do I open more doors? What do I do to be able to expand on the conversation? How do I more effectively build rapport? What can I do to be better at qualifying? What might be 6, 7 different ways that I could close? What do I do after the close to make sure that I don't lose the sale? What do I do in order to be able to drive more referrals, more ratings, more reviews. So it looks at that entire business development piece as a whole, and it puts the reader in complete control of feeling empowered that says, okay, if I want more business, I now got 20 things that I can do that I don't need to wait for anything to happen for. I can go out and make a difference. And then exactly where to start, which is the third book in the series, is a guide to get people to be able to launch a product, a service, a business, an idea. Having launched, over 3,500 different business initiatives in my career, I've learned a lot about what it takes to move something from idea to reality. So I created a simple 10-step process that can allow other people to do the same. And the book is like a personal hand-holding coach that says, follow this, do this, take these actions, and your idea will come to life. Not it will be a super success story. It's you'll bring it into the real world and get it off of a sheet of paper.
And something in the book you had said, when we think about salespeople, we don't think about people like LeBron James or Oprah, right?
Right.
You mentioned Steve Jobs. I do kind of think of Steve Jobs as a salesperson, but talk to us. Why do you say that?
They're in a position of influence, right? So let's just take LeBron James for argument's sake. Who do you think sells more jerseys? The retail manager of the jersey store or LeBron James?
I would say LeBron James sells the jerseys for them. Because he's actually the product, I guess, right?
Yeah.
It's his brand.
It's his brand, but it's what other people see in his brand that means that they'll go on to be able to follow that protocol, make decisions down that lens. Leadership and sales are very closely tied. So what leaders are looking to be able to do is to sell an idea or an outcome. What salespeople are looking to do is to sell a product or a service. But the process to get there is exactly the same. When you look at some of the most influential people in the world through politics or through religion or through just social influence, then what you're looking at is people have the ability to be able to change the perspective that somebody else is looking at something through. You get them to be able to see things differently. And that's the art of influence. It's changing the position that somebody is looking at something from, or changing the frame in which they see it. And people don't like to be sold, but they do love to be able to buy things. And if you can change somebody else's perspective and get them to see things in a different way, you can help people choose you as opposed to somebody like you, which means you can win more customers, more fans, more followers, more of the right kind of employees, more people to be able to come and get behind your cause. Doesn't matter what it is. The answer to being more successful in anything in life is the ability to influence.
Yeah, no doubt. So I want to talk about some of the strategy in the book, exactly what to say, because, like I said, I personally picked up the book, and you're talking to someone who wrote the sales playbook, a lot of experience in many industries selling, and I felt like I was stuck, and I wanted to look at some different ways of selling, and I got some stuff from your book that I'd never heard before. And the interesting thing is, so many of these books, it's kind of the same strategies, or it's just repackaged. You know what I mean? But you've got some phenomenal stuff. I mean, I'll say one of them. The just imagine or open minded. Talk to us about those techniques.
Let's pick up on those two that you've just mentioned there. Firstly, what the book is full of what I call my magic words. What magic words are words that talk straight towards the subconscious mind of the person that you're speaking with to allow them to be able to make decisions more freely because they're using a pre-programmed part of their mind as opposed to a conscious part of their mind. When you reference the sequence of words, just imagine, it talks towards a core principle in the fact that people make decisions based on what they see in their mind's eye before anything else. Let me put that more simply, is every decision every human being has ever made has been made at least twice. First decisions are made hypothetically speaking, and only once you've made a decision hypothetically do you then move forward and commit to be able to take that action. Put even more simply, I'm guessing you, like everybody else, has said to yourself at some point in time, I cannot see myself doing that. See, if you cannot see yourself doing something, the chances of you then going on to be able to do it remain slim to none. So logic would prevail that says if you can see yourself in a situation before being invited to be able to step into that situation, chances of you doing it become significantly higher. Add to that another piece of psychology in the fact that the period of time that we learn best is when we're children, and the process that we learn best as children is when we receive information in the form of a story. We know that a story will always sell and a fact will only tell. Let's combine those things. If I can get people to see themselves in a scenario, and what I can do is I can present that scenario in story form, then what I can do is get them to see themselves in a situation before I invite them to step into it. How do I do it? I utilize a sequence of words that's just as powerful as the sequence of words were when you're a child. The sequence of words that you would receive as a child to know that a story was coming are the words once upon a time. Now, you can't say once upon a time to a grown-up and expect it to have the same impact, but you can say the words just imagine. When I say the words just imagine, people open up their story importer in the same way, get ready to receive an image, and whatever that image is that you go on to be able to paint for them, they now have that future-facing memory in order to be able to anchor how they might make their decision. How do we use that to be able to influence? Well, there are only three things that people will be influenced by. One is something they might want to move towards, another is something they might want to move away from, and the third is something that will make their heart sing. Always fall into one of those three areas. So I could use the words just imagine to be able to paint the picture of something people want to move towards. I can use the words just imagine to paint the picture of something people might want to run away from. Or I can use the words just imagine to help somebody experience or see something that might make their heart sing. I know that you have a background in the world of real estate. Let's play it out there. See, just imagine 6 months on from now that you're sat in that sunroom at the back of your home and you're looking out into the garden watching your kids play in that beautiful backyard. Can't help but see it. Hey, just imagine we don't make a move on this property right now. Somebody comes in and buys it instead of you.
Yeah.
Hey, just imagine that what we do is that we fail to market it while the market is high right now, and you leave yourself in a position that you can't realize the money that you'll be hoping to be able to achieve.
Yeah.
See, I can paint examples, but I haven't told anybody anything. I've allowed them to be able to see for themselves. Second example you asked me to lean into was the utilization of the words open-minded. I can use the words open-minded to create a rejection-free formula that I can ask just about anybody to do just about anything. See, often the reason that people don't ask people for the things they want in life is they're fearful of rejection. So if what I can do is provide people a rejection-free formula to be able to ask for the things that they want in life, they might be more likely to ask. Let's build on this some more. If I ask a room full of 1,000 people, who in the room sees themselves as open-minded, I get about 900 hands raised. Still pretty sure that the other 100 hands wouldn't raise regardless of what I asked. So I'm still pretty darn certain that almost the whole world likes to see themselves as open-minded. How do we use that fact to influence more of our conversations? Well, we take the fact the world likes to see themselves as open-minded, we bring it into the format of a question, and I preface the things I'd like to introduce to people with the words, how open-minded would you be to? See, what I can now do is instead of saying to somebody, hey, let's go look at something in another area, or would you be interested in something that has one fewer bedrooms, or any of the other questions that we find ourselves asking somebody in a more direct fashion, I could ask the question, how open-minded would you be to looking at something that's 100,000 more than your budget?
I love that.
Now, all of a sudden, I've got them more likely to say yes to that open-minded question. How open-minded would you be to taking on board something that requires a little bit more work? Hey, how open-minded would you be to stepping outside of the areas that you pre-prescribed if I can show you something that's killer? How open-minded would you be to listing your next property with me as opposed to the guy you've always worked with? How open-minded would you be to considering me for your next move? How open-minded would you be to referring me to 3 of your friends? See how it softens an ask?
Yeah, I love that.
And it guarantees an outcome more so. It makes the other person feel more willing to step into the open space you've left for them.
Right when I got the book, I actually went and I kind of created an opening. And it actually started with the first one that I missed, which was, I don't even know if this is for you, right?
Yeah.
Which was really one of my favorites. But they all tie together, and so I would be like, I don't even know if this is for you. I'm calling owners of brokerages and saying, I don't know if this is for you, but we found that, agents or brokerages with similar production to yours, they're able to double or even triple their production with a few simple models we have. I'm just curious to know if you're open-minded to hearing more. And then just stopping right there, right?
I'm clapping. That is
how cool is that?
Perfect application of some of my work. Nice.
I love it, dude. And that's what I'm saying. I grabbed the book and I'm like, this stuff is brilliant. Talk to us about that, though. Talk to us about, I don't even know if this is for you or not.
Well, let's get back to that whole reason of people not asking for things that they want in life because they're fearful of rejection. I'm not sure if it's for you is a preface that you can utilize that is, again, completely rejection-free. When I suggest something to somebody with the preface, I'm not sure if it's for you, the little voice or their subconscious brain kicks back with a couple of things. If I'm to say the words to you, I'm not sure if this is for you, your little voice firstly says, well, I'll be the judge of that. It takes full ownership. The second thing the little voice inside your head does is it says, what is it? Curiosity is piqued and you lean in and you want to find out more. It naturally creates intrigue. It makes them want to listen to what happens next. Whereas most openings will mean that somebody prejudges you and decides they don't want to listen to what happens next. The 3-letter word that comes on the end of I'm not sure if it's for you is the word but. What the word but does typically in conversation is it negates everything that came prior to it. See, if you said to somebody, look, I know you're really happy with your existing agent, but what you're doing is you're finding yourself in a conflict scenario and you're trying to argue with something they've already agreed to do. However, if I use it in this particular set of circumstances and I say to somebody, hey, I'm not sure if it's for you, but have you ever considered how some of your agents could be delivering some more productivity through learning 2 to 3 simple skills? What the word but does there is it negates the prior thing. It gets them laser focused on the size of the prize, which is the middle of the sandwich, which is the results that you can help them achieve through your system. So it deliberately negates what came prior to it. So that's why it needs to be used with some caution.
Masters, we are going to get you right back to the show. I just want to acknowledge our sponsors, Vulcan 7. Again, check out Vulcan 7. If you're in real estate, you need leads. This is the source. Expireds, for sale by owners, circle prospecting, meaning you can call around your listings. They have the dialer. They have the CRM built in, the platform, everything you need, the scripts to be consistent and take your expired prospecting game, Fizzball game to the next level. Check them out. $49 special for Path to Mastery. How do you go wrong? You can't. $49. Check them out. 2 weeks, everything. If you love it, stick with it. If you don't love it, then you just cancel it and move on. Get yourself a 2-week trial at vulcan7.com/path to mastery. All right, that's it. If you love podcasts, you're going to absolutely love Audible because it's the largest source of audiobook. Check out a free book from me, from David, davidsfreebook.com for listeners of Path to Mastery. I mean, hey, just for listening to the show, you get a free book. Go to davidsfreebook.com, and I would check out, honestly, Phil Jones' book, Exactly What to Say, is phenomenal. I cannot say enough about Phil's book, Exactly What to Say. If you're in sales, this is the book you want to listen to. You rock. Enjoy Phil Jones. The other thing that we talked about in the book is you have a swap with questions.
Yeah,
so
there's something that you listening in on this podcast have done in the past. I'm pretty certain you've done this. You might have even done it as early as yesterday. You've got to the end of a presentation. Let's say it was like a listing presentation or something of that nature. And after telling them everything you want to tell them, going through the whole of the experience, you've then finished the conversation with the words, do you have any questions? When you say the words to somebody, do you have any questions, you have to realize what it is that you've just done. You've just said to the person they should have questions, yet quite often they don't have questions. So you've just made them feel stupid. You've said, do you have any questions? Although you're understanding that you think they probably haven't got questions. They think that they should have questions, but they don't have any questions. They start to think, what has he not told me? Now that they're thinking, what has he not told you? Because of the fact that you've just told them you haven't told everything, now expect responses like, I just need some time to think about it. Which I'm guessing almost everybody on this listening in right now has heard at least once in their life. I just need some time to think about it. You create that scenario by asking questions like, do you have any questions? We preface this in the book by talking about it as simple swap. So what do we swap the words to? Instead of saying, do you have any questions, we swap the words to, what questions do you have for me? When I say, what questions do you have for me, their immediate path of least resistance response is, I've got no questions, which means in turn that they've made their mind up, which means in turn that you can ask for a decision. How would you ask for a decision? You'd simply say, well, the next step is, or what happens next is. And you'd lead somebody into the next action they need to follow in order to move forward with the advice you're recommending. So what happens next is that we need to shoot some pictures of the place looking beautiful. We need to get it up and on the market, and then we need to plan the marketing strategy to make sure that we get the right people through the door to maximize your price. See how it naturally leads towards a close? Whereas if you say, do you have any questions? You've just put a stall in the process that you created. What questions do you have for me? Oh, no questions. Oh, excellent. Good news. Well, what happens next is boom, 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 boom.
That's awesome. So let's say you go through this and this person still says, well, I need some time to think about it. Where do you go with that?
There's a long way and a short way of doing this. Let's start with the short way because it's fun. I'm going to give you one word that typically isn't used in this format, but when you use it in this format could change the way that the whole world plays. Now, you need to be a confident player in the world of conversation for this to be delivered. But what I'm going to teach is a one-word question. And the one-word question is the question, really. They say, look, that's a lot of information for me today, and I just need some time to think about it. You say, really? Now, you have the confidence to ask that question. and then remain quiet after which, they now need to make the excuses out loud as to why they're not brave enough to make a decision today. They do all your work for you. Now, if you're not brave enough to ask the really question, let me give you a softer way of achieving the same outcome.
Okay.
They say, I need some time to think about it. When they say I need some time to think about it, my guess is in that very moment in time, you found yourself wanting to say to that person, like, what is it? What do you want to think about? Please just tell me and I can probably help. But you can't say that because that's rude and obnoxious. So instead you say things like it's no pressure. We're ready when you're ready. You take your time. You let me know. I mean, when would you like me to pester you again? Right? That's what ends up happening by alternative. So I figured, what if I could learn a set of magic words that would allow me to not ask a question in a rude or obnoxious fashion, but instead turn it into soft and fluffy. And I learned that if I preface a direct question with the words just out of curiosity, I can ask whatever on earth I like. They say I need some time to think about it. You say, just out of curiosity, what is it specifically you need some time to think about? Zip. Now, don't say zip. What I'm saying here is that you shut up for a moment in time. I could turn this one stage further. I could say, just out of curiosity, what is it that needs to happen for you to make a decision over this at this time? Or I could go one stage further still. I could say, just out of curiosity, what is it that's stopping you from moving forward with something like this in this moment? Now, if I ask those questions and I leave a pause that sits behind them, one of two things will happen. Thing number one is about 16 seconds will go by. Now, I need to remind the listeners that 16 seconds feels like about 3 weeks. And during which time period, don't be surprised if they come back with a genuine reason. Don't be surprised if you come back with the, well, like I've got another person that's coming in to come and see us tomorrow at 10 a.m. and I don't want to make a decision until I've seen them. Okay, now we know what we're dealing with. Or they come back with an honest answer that says, I was thinking about listing and I just wanted to get some insight from you, but we're probably not going to do it till the fall. Okay, gotcha. Now I know what I'm dealing with. You with me?
Yes.
If it's not that honesty and transparency that they bring you in the other direction, and it goes 14 seconds, 15 seconds, 16 seconds, this is good news to you. It means they're searching for an excuse and they cannot find one. So don't be surprised if you ask a question of that nature, they go searching for an excuse, they cannot find one. They come back and they say, you know what, Phil? You're right. There isn't anything more to think about. You know what, Phil? You're right. There's nothing that needs to happen. You know what, Phil? You're right. There's nothing that's stopping me at this time. And it empowers them to make a decision that previously you both knew was the right thing.
I love it, man. I love it. This is valuable information for you guys listening to this right now. I would really pick up this book, Exactly What to Say. I'll pick up all of Phil's books, to be honest with you. Exactly How to Sell, and then Exactly Where to Start. Phil, another strategy, this is another one that I use all the time now when I'm closing somebody, is the 3 options, So A, obviously you can continue doing what you've been doing. You can look at another option, and then this is my really quick, direct example. Or 3, you could certainly, partner with us. So talk to us about that, and you can probably articulate that a little better right now.
Consumers like to think they have options, but they don't actually really like options. They like glaringly obvious options to choose, but the feeling that the entire choice was in their hands. When somebody's stuck making a decision, if you can present them with a choice of 3 options, they feel remarkably empowered to be able to make a decision. So I would give them the idea of the fact that they have 3 options. How would this work? Well, the way I see it right now is you have 3 options. Now I'm going to stack my options. Option 1 is always do nothing. Option 1 is you could do nothing. You can continue to live in your home as you do right now. Nothing changes and you still find yourself cramped on space. Obviously, the second thing you could do is that you could continually be able to span the market, looking at what everybody else offers and see if you could find somebody that does something better, cheaper, faster, longer, or stronger than I do. Or thirdly, what we could do is we could build on this conversation that we've had here today, where we've built great rapport, we've got on fantastically well. You can invest in me, my team, and my services, and we could have your property on the market in as little as 7 days and have you on your journey to move towards your future new home in the next few months. So which option suits you best?
Yeah, and the other thing too is you with number options 1 and 2, you're also adding a lot of pain to those, right? I mean, it's not just
correct.
It's like, yeah, you can continue being here and not hitting your goal and whatever, right? Whatever the pain is. And
let's take it from your business point of view. Look, you got 3 options. You can keep doing what you're doing right now, hoping for better results, but knowing that nothing changes. You can still keep searching for the silver bullet, hoping that in some film of mastery that you're going to stumble across what it is that other people are doing that you're not. Or you could take the chance and invest some time in me and a trusted, proven training system and start putting into practice these new systems and skills and start generating additional production from your agents as early as next month. Which option suits you best? And I want to make a really key point. I made that up on the spot for your business. And the worst time to think about the thing you're going to say is in the moment in which you're saying it. To everybody listening in right now, my huge encouragement is to think about what are all the key crucial conversations that you find yourself having day in and day out. The ones that are bordering on repetitive, where right now you are self-sabotaging the fortune in your success from not having the right words at the right time. Because it's doing the work before the work that means that what happens is you have the tool to call upon in the moment where you need it, where what you can do is that you can have more of those moments count in your favor if you get ready with the words ahead of time.
That's so true. It's interesting. I wrote one for an agent in my office. It was for an expired listing. And, I said, you have three options. Obviously, you could interview other agents and you could start the process, all over again from the beginning, or you could certainly relist with the same agent that you had. And unfortunately, the house is going to sit on the market for month after month again and not sell, or you could give us a shot and let us show you what we can do to get this house sold and get started right away. Which works best for you?
Simple, right?
Super simple, man. Super simple. So what would you say is the biggest mistake you see salespeople making?
Not preparing for an opportunity ahead of time. The one thing that too many salespeople do is they rely upon their experience. And they show up thinking that what's worked for them in the past will work for them again. And because they've become experienced in some way, they forget to get brilliant at the basics that allowed them to be able to have the success that they've achieved and that they've benefited from in the past. So staying in the world of real estate, people show up to listing presentations without doing some research and homework about the people they're looking to meet, without having true comparisons, without having an understanding or a plan towards the impact they could have on that other person. They don't do the work before the work, and they don't take the time to understand they're in the people business and get to know those individuals. That's the biggest mistake that happens time and time again, coupled with something that everybody knows that people forget too easily, is that every decision is made on emotion, not logic. Yet still far too many people spend their time, effort, and energy building the logical argument and don't invest the time in creating the emotional reason for somebody to be able to choose you as opposed to somebody like you. And those two things come in and they do the work together. They're doing a little bit of homework, showing that you care. And I think in every big decision that anybody's looking to make, what the consumer is looking to be able to answer is show me that you know me. Show me that you understand my world. Prove to me that you understand what it's like to be me. That's what every consumer's thinking. And if you fail to show them that you understand the world through their lens, expect to not be chosen.
Yeah, and I like what you said, too. I feel like I came into sales with a lot of logical selling strategy and not so much emotional strategy. And I feel like I've, over the years learned to be better at, digging deep on why the goals are important to them and what's really important to them and what they get and their family. But we can't forget as well that there are some people that operate from a logical realm and those emotional things aren't going to relate to them as much.
Not true.
Okay, tell us more.
The operation from a position of how the logical argument impacts the way they feel. Still an emotional state. So what they require is they require the logic to add up so that they feel secure in the action that they're looking for. Still feelings, it's still emotion, it's just they require logical details to be able to get there. That's why some companies stack their products with you can buy the 300 model, the 500 model, or the 700 model. I'll buy the 700 because it's clearly better. Is it? Well, no, it's just got a bigger number attached to it, but it creates a feeling in somebody. So think about Mercedes range or any of those things where the number stacks up bigger. People think it's applying to the logical reasons as to why it's the right thing. Yet really it's the emotive scenario. Let's take it into a pricing scenario with a home. You get that super logical type person that comes in with an offer that ends in $637. As opposed to ending in 000. What do they want? They want the emotional response of feeling like they were smarter than other people. They want the emotional response of feeling that they were different to other people. Still emotional, even though it's logically stacked.
Interesting. So you're saying that the person that's all about the numbers, like I want to know how many houses you sold in my neighborhood. I want to know how much money you're going to get. I want to know the fee. I don't care about the fluff. So you're telling me there's emotion behind that as well.
Yeah, what they're looking to be able to do is they're looking to be able to reassure a emotive decision to back it up with logic. So here's the thing, that the decisions aren't made on emotion or logic, they're made on both. But emotion always comes first. Something has to feel right before it ever makes sense. People require different levels of it makes sense to be able to trigger across. But the reason that they want all those logical numbers is to give them the feeling of security of the fact that you've done this before. That's what they're really asking, is prove to me you know what you're doing. They don't want the numbers. They want the reassurance that you've got experience in doing the things that you claim to do.
I love it, man. I appreciate the fact that I just learned something just now. Pretty important. What didn't I ask you, man? Like, what should I have asked you that I didn't ask you? What didn't we talk about? That's important.
Wow. I mean, there's a point that I want to make that is bringing this around full circle. You're experienced in what you do. You've been doing this a long time. You've got some great results. And what got us towards this podcast is you deciding that you're on the continual quest for self-improvement. Is the fact that somebody with your level of experience still reached into the fact that said, I'm going to pick up a book that apparently tells me a load of stuff that I already know. And you went with curiosity to say, hold on, is there anything new in here that could help me get good at what I'm doing? So there's a lesson in that for everybody that says done is not a place that any of us really want to be. We all want to be on the continual journey for self-improvement. If I give a room full of people the choice between doing good at something, doing better at something, or doing their best at something, I still get fascinated by the fact that everybody in the room wants to do their best. I think that is a mistake. Because how many times have you said to somebody, don't worry, you tried your best, and known that it was a complete pack of nonsense? Or perhaps even you've made the excuse yourself to other people by saying, look, I'm trying my best. And again, too, knew that you had more in the tank to be able to offer. The only way that we get to be able to improve our existing situations and our existing circumstances is when we focus on better. So that's what I'd urge everybody to look to be able to do. The risk that many people could have from listening to our conversation here today is, I can't do that. The gap between where I am right now and where these guys are in this conversation, that's way far past where I'm at right now. I want you to understand that I used to suck at this stuff too. And the focus is always been on getting better. How do you do that? You need a process that says better is my focus. How do you do that? Well, think about what I call my LBs and my NTs. Following every major sales conversation I've had through the bulk of my career, the thing that I've done afterwards is I've given myself the gift of a personal review. In that personal review, I'll do my LBs and my NTs. What does LB stand for? LB stands for like best. So I write a list of everything I like best about that opportunity, everything I like best about how this came about, everything I liked best about the way in which it went. And I give myself the confidence to show that some things did go right there. Following my list of LBs, and only once I've exhausted that list, I move to my list of NTs. My NTs are what would I do next time? And here's where I give myself the gift of being able to say, well, improvement is within my future. Note what I've not done is what did I do right and what would I do wrong. It's what did I like best. Therefore, I give myself the praise to reinforce those positive habits to mean I'm more likely to do them for next time. And what would I do next time, which gives me the gift of saying that when this moment comes around again, I've got some improved performance that I self-diagnosed. It's really quite liberating, and it stops you from feeling like a loser and carrying too much baggage sometimes when things aren't going great.
I think that's such a critical piece of advice you just gave to all of our listeners. I feel like from doing this so long, I see too many salespeople just get hung up on the things that they didn't do well, and they kind of get stuck on that. And I think if you really spend a lot of time, like you said, looking at what did I do well or what did I like best, it's going to help. It's going to help you move forward, and we don't get down on ourselves.
You betcha.
So I really appreciate that, man. I want to thank you. I would encourage everybody to really go pick up these books. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I listened to your book on Audible. So phenomenal job, by the way. Obviously, you did the audio yourself. People will pick up on that as soon as they purchase the book. You can actually get a free copy if you go to davidsfreebook.com, by the way, from Audible. So, and how do people get in touch with you, Phil, if they're looking for more coaching or what else do you have going on that you can offer to our listeners?
Firstly, just stop by my website, philmjones.com. Come find me on social media. Where you find me hanging out as a person more than anything else is either on Instagram or LinkedIn. So come connect up there if you want to reach out and continue the conversation. Conversations I like best following somebody listening to a show of this kind of nature is tell me what you took from the show, tell me what you put into practice, and tell me how it's been working out. Don't say I heard you on the show was awesome. This isn't about me, it's about you guys going to take some action on it. So that's the stuff I love to be able to hear back in the other direction. And one thing that I'd encourage everybody listening in to go grab themselves right now is, you mentioned Audible a second ago. I produced a brand new show with Audible, which is an original that came out a few weeks back. And it's called How to Persuade and Get Paid. It's a full live one-day seminar that we recorded at Minetta Lane Theatre off Broadway with a live audience. And it takes my best sales training advice that typically would be available to people for thousands of dollars, and you can access it for an Audible credit, or you can access it for like $20 or something if you don't want to get into the credit space. And for anybody who's new to Audible, if you go to audible.com/persuade, then you'll find yourself on my landing page there that Audible created for me, and you can download it for free if you're new to Audible. So that's a cool new route in if you want to access some more comprehensive parts of my material. I don't really do one-on-one coaching. We don't have any online courses. But if you see my name appearing at some big conventions coming up, come stop by, come say hi, and say that you first heard me on this beautiful podcast.
Thank you, man. That was phenomenal. There's a lot of really great nuggets here for our listeners. So I'm looking forward to everybody utilizing this and implementing it. Please give me some feedback as well. I'd love to know your thoughts on the show. Like Phil said, some real meat and potatoes feedback. And who else would you like me to get on the show? So Phil, in closing, man, from everything we talked about today, I know we jumped around a little bit, putting this all together, what would you say is the one thing that you really want to make sure everybody listening to this takes away from this today?
Aim a little bit higher and know that better is possible, but it takes time in order to be able to get there. So my encouragement to everybody, and I know that your show is called The Path to Mastery, is the path to mastery comes through messing it up, comes through making mistakes. It comes through being prepared to be way less than perfect. So I'm looking to give everybody listening right now is the permission to go make more mistakes. And there's a big difference between a mistake and a failure. We make countless mistakes across the way. We fail at things that we try and worked out differently. But give yourself the permission to make mistakes, to fail frequently, take big lessons, and then keep moving forward. And you'll be amazed at where you might show up 2, 3, 4, 5 years on from now if you take that kind of mindset. Try and focus on being perfect, focus on the right way of doing things, then you'll keep yourself in perfection paralysis and you'll stop yourself achieving what your potential is.
And here's a bonus. I forgot to ask you this question. In real estate right now, one of the biggest challenges we're facing is the industry itself is being disrupted. I'm not sure if you know much about this at all, but if you do, I'd just be kind of curious to hear your thoughts on how do we stay relevant when an industry is being disrupted the way it is right now. I don't know if you follow real estate, but there's a lot of tech companies coming into the realm.
Well, you mean just like every other industry?
Sure, yeah.
Firstly, I think that's a lens to be able to look at it. And you think that your world's changing in one singular industry. It's not. The world is changing for every industry, so get used to it. I actually think that we live in a world right now where people power has the ability to be able to fight back. The tech surgence has caused a lot of disruption towards the industry, but I haven't met a human being that would rather deal with a computer versus a talented human being. There are lots of humans that would rather work with a computer than an annoying human being, but I think where your talent shines through, then the consumer would still get a better result by doing business with you. Trust that process. Now, in also trusting that process, it means that you need to do the work to understand what it is that makes you different, what it is that makes you better. Where are your unique selling points? What are the stuff that you and only you can do that a computer or a tech company has no ability to be able to do? Where does that intuition exist? I'm not talking artificial intelligence. I'm talking intelligence and experience. Where does that stuff play true? So what you then have to be able to do to be able to fight back against the disruption that's happening to the marketplace is to educate the consumer. So the education to the consumer comes not through creating certainty or fighting arguments. It comes through creating doubt. So what do you understand about the true value that a real estate agent brings towards their customers? There would be a question I'd be asking of my prospects. What do you understand about the true value that a talented, experienced real estate agent brings towards their prospects? What do you know about the disruptions that are happening to the industry where people are looking to sell their house online without engaging an agent? How would you feel if I told you that the majority of people that go through that process find themselves undervaluing their home by as much as 15%? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it that you maximize the sale of your home? On a scale of 1 to 10, how important is it that you have somebody to hold your hand when the negotiation gets tricky? On a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rather deal with, a telephone call center or somebody you could meet in a coffee shop?
Dude, you're a beast, man. I love it.
Now, answer me this. What's more important to you in the transaction of your home sale, the percentage that you pay or the dollars that you keep? Right?
Yes, sir.
So these things all come to light. But now what has to happen more than ever, you've got to follow through on your promise. And I think that's the part that's been missing by many, is they think they can make easy money. And you can't in any profession. And the more and more competitive an environment gets, the more important it is for you to over-deliver on your promise.
You know, I think you nailed it. I think that's one of the things with the industry. It's going to be a lot harder now to come in this industry, and there's no easy money. I guess that's a better way to put it. You're going to work hard, and the people that do it right and do it well are going to do phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are going to have to start looking at other careers. And I'll tell you what I took from listening to you, and I don't know why this never clicked before, and you tell me what your thoughts are. I mean, artificial intelligence is underlying what is really disrupting a lot of industries. That with the platform, what it's missing is the emotional intelligence part.
Correct.
Yeah, and I don't think that ever clicked for me until I was just listening to you.
And the whole world's getting crazy on automation. It's getting crazy on saying, how do we get bots to do things? It's getting crazy on what can we do to be able to systemize and automate and take the people out. Yet the people are craving for more people and more human contact.
All right, my friend. Well, hey, I just want to say I really appreciate your time. You brought us a ton of value. So you let me know if there's anything at all I can do for you.
No, just keep pushing forward and keep helping people to be better.
Masters, if you know me, you know health and nutrition is number one, and that's why I'm an advisor for Advocare products. Listen, in my opinion, these are the best products on the planet, guys. You get what you're supposed to get, right? I use the products for health. I use the products for energy. I use the products for wellness. So we have all the different lines from Spark, starting your day with a great energy shot, all the way to pre-workout. It's whatever your goals are, right? It's whatever your goals are. You can check out the products at www.livelongersmarter.com. That's my website. Or reach out to me, and I'd love to have a 30-minute or, anywhere from 15 to 30-minute conversation with you, just talking about your health and nutrition goals and what I can do to help you achieve those goals. So again, products, energy line, or wellness line, whether it's joints, you're getting up there in the age, you just want to take care of yourself. I'll tell you, one of the greatest compliments I get is people, you say, wow, you look amazing. I cannot believe you are the age you are. Weight loss. I've helped lots of people, guys, lose weight, not just lose it, but keep it off with the products. And the cool thing is, I'd say 75% of the people who start with our products, they continue using our products even after they initially tried them, which has been amazing. And strength, if you're into bodybuilding, then hey, Rich Fronin, okay? I don't know if you know who Rich Fronin is. He's an advocate for Advocare as well. So amazing products. You can see us. We're featured on NASCAR, professional soccer, college basketball, college football, Men's Health magazine last month. These are the real deal, guys. LiveLongerSmarter.com is the website, or reach out to me if you, like I said, if you want to have a personal conversation with me, just send me an email. In the subject line, just put Advocare products, and I'd love, like I said, schedule a 15 to 30-minute call with you to talk about your health and nutrition goals. Guys, you rock. Live longer, smarter. And as Gary Keller eloquently said, if you don't take care of your body, where are you gonna live? You rock.
You are listening to One More Sale with your host, David I. Hill, author of The Sales Playbook. Get your copy at www.thesalesplaybook.net.